And welcome in to another edition of Earnshaw Radio. I am your host, Nick Earnshaw. And listen, we have another great guest. I've been having so much fun doing this channel, doing this show. It's been awesome for the first couple of episodes. We had Rashard Davis on last week. We have some more great guests coming up in the next couple of weeks, and we'll do some more streams as well coming up in the near future. Mondays at 9 p.m. and then Wednesdays at 9 p.m. You know how it rolls. We're getting it started here on Earnshaw Radio. So make sure to hit the like button, make sure to hit subscribe, and you'll get all the notifications when a reel goes out, when a YouTube short goes out, when another video goes out, interview, whatever it may be, all the content right here, Earnshaw Radio. Very much appreciate all the support we have gotten so far. Like and subscribe, follow on X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, the whole nine. But today, we have a very, very, very special guest. I'm so excited to have him on today to talk some baseball and Phillies baseball. We'll talk about his career as well. He's pitched over a decade in the big leagues. Philly fans know him pretty well as one of those key arms out of the pen during that 2008 World Series championship. I'm going to bring him up. Left-hander Scott Eyre. He's got a Philly Fanatic bobblehead. That's his limited edition. I need that. Come on. I'm a big collectible guy, Scott.
I got a bunch of stuff.
That's awesome.
I got my jersey hanging behind me from the World Series with the picture of Lidge laying down, and then this is my favorite jersey.
That's a split jersey.
Well, the 51 is my brother Willie, who pitched for 3 years in the big leagues.
That's awesome.
So we got that made.
Yeah, I actually want to kind of start with that. You guys got inducted together in 2014 to your high school, right? What was it like going in your high school Hall of Fame with your brother?
Was it 2014? Yeah, 2014. That was pretty cool. We have a good friend who's our head coach, Bob Frado. He just retired after 33 or 32 years coaching. I was his first. I had in Salt Lake City, where I grew up, went to Cypress High School. We just had sophomore, junior, senior year. We didn't have freshmen back then. Now they do now. So he was the JV coach my first year, and our head coach was Bob Givens, and he was there just my first year. And then Frado took over, and he was. I owe my entire. I could say honestly, I owe my entire career to a lot of people, but he's the main one. I wasn't even going to college after high school. I was not a very good student. I was not dumb, just not a good student.
You're pretty good at baseball, though.
Pretty good at baseball, but I weighed less than $140 in graduating high school.
Right.
I don't even think I was 6 foot. I went and pitched in the Utah senior high school all-star game, and he had called a friend of his who was a college pitching guy at Southern Idaho Junior College in Twin Falls, and he'd come to watch me pitch, and I didn't know he was there to watch me pitch. And then I'm warming up for the game. I started the senior game, and I ended up pitching 3 innings, striking out 8. I think I struck out the first 8 of the game, actually, and then got a ground out for the third out of the third inning. But after the game, I literally signed my letter of intent, or whatever you want to call it, my letter on top of his briefcase in his trunk of his car. I got home from the game. My mom couldn't come to the game because they were camping I think up in Ogden, Utah, or Logan or somewhere.
Yeah.
A bunch of the family. So I got home and they were home, and I walked in the house and she said, "How was the game?" I said, "It went well. Guess what?" She's like, "What?" She goes, she asked me something like, "Did you win MVP or something like that?" I'm like, "No, I'm going to college." And she's like, "Huh?"
You?
So that was it. Yeah. So that was it. I wouldn't even have gone to college without him. So getting inducted to the high school Hall of Fame with my brother was really special, but having Frado speak, he did the the induction speech prior to me. So that's really cool. Plus, we're still really good friends to this day. I talk to him quite often, actually.
That's an amazing story.
He's a Yankee fan, though, so you know.
It's funny. I was just at Yankee Stadium for the first time this past summer, watching the Phillies and Yankees. That was pretty cool. That was pretty special.
That's a pretty sweet stadium.
Yeah. Now, did you got a chance in the 2009 World Series to pitch in the new Yankee Stadium? What was the difference like between those two stadiums, the old one versus the new?
I pitched in both. Yeah. I don't really remember the differences. I know the new one. I believe the dimensions and all that were pretty close to the same, were they not, or close to it?
Yeah, it's like a little league ballpark.
They tried to, pretty much. I do remember it. Man, it was a World Series, but I do remember it being just ridiculously loud, quite close to as loud as CBP gets.
Yeah, it was an interesting ballpark. Got to Fenway too this summer, which was awesome.
Okay. I do
Yeah, I do want to hit on something that I thought was fascinating. Researching you before the game, before this interview, and just in the past, you used to write on your hat, "Work hard and have fun." Where did that start? On every one of your baseball caps that you got throughout your career, you did that. Where did that start, and why did you write that?
The have fun was more on every hat. The work hard came later. It's kind of when I was in AAA in the big leagues and was struggling. But the have fun was something that my grandmother, who passed away about 10, 11, 12 years ago now, used to always tell me. She goes, have fun and doing whatever you're doing. If you're doing something that you're not having fun at, why would you do it? So I kind of took that to heart as a kid, and then in college and then the minor leagues and stuff like that. And it just was something I wrote. I still write it in I was looking around for one of my high school hats in here. I still write it on my high school hats, and I've actually got a couple of the high school kids have written it on their hats. When they're having some tough days, and kids will ask me like, "Why do you write that?" I'm like, and I tell them the same story. If you're not having fun at something, why would you? If you're not having fun out here, why would you be out here?
Right.
You choose to be out here. It's a privilege to be out here. You get to be out here, but you choose to be out here. I chose that life to go into the minor leagues and leave college and do that. It's a choice. Can be a pretty tough choice for some kids. For me, it wasn't a hard one. It was like, hey, here's an opportunity to play more baseball. Okay, thank you. But it was just something that in even Coach Fratto probably said, have fun. And it's just something I always tell people now, and I'm end the conversation. I'm like, hey, be safe, have fun. It's just something I try to do in everyday life. I mean, I try to be as upbeat and positive as I can.
Yeah, I love it. And you are now coaching high school kids. You mentioned
Yes.
that some of your kids are writing on their hats. Tell me what that's been like, coaching and giving back to a high school community and seeing these new players come up.
It's fun. It started like when I first retired after the 09 season. I didn't really do anything for that first year in 10. We went on a massive RV trip for 11 weeks. My wife planned out. We went across the entire country, and we did that. And then the next year, another former pitcher named Scott Sauerback. He was a left-handed pitcher, pitched for the Pirates, the Red Sox, a few other teams. Who he recently passed away within the last year. He called me, and I didn't really know him. I really didn't know him at all. I don't think I'd ever crossed paths playing against him. I mean, I probably did, but I didn't talk to him. And our kids went to the same school at St. Stephen's in Bradenton, Florida. And he calls me up, gets my number, and says, "Hey," we start talking. He's like, "Hey, just so you know, you're coaching with me." I'm like, "Huh?" He goes, "I need a coach. You come coach with me. Your kids are going to be here in another couple of years." So the first couple of years I coached there, my kids weren't even in 7th grade yet to play middle school ball at school. So I think I ended up I was there for 10 years before I moved to Florida. I think it was 10 or 11.
Wow.
And then it's funny, I moved up here to North Carolina. We moved into our house January 21st of 2021, right?
Yeah.
I started coaching at Landrum High School February 1st. Like
Oh
9 days after
God.
I moved into the house, I started coaching.
That was quick.
But yeah, I had reached out on Twitter to the head coach. My brother Willie reached out, and he responded, you should do the same. So I did. Long story short, I talked to him on the phone, and he said, we don't have any money to pay. He didn't realize who I was, or my background, I guess, for the first part of the conversation, which was kind of funny. We're just texting back and instant messaging back and forth, and it was pretty quick repertoire back and forth. Like he was answering right back. Then all of a sudden I said, I have a good background in pitching and baseball. I've been on the field most of my life. And then all of a sudden he didn't respond for like 15 minutes. That's when he Googled me. And he's told me,
he did a little research on you.
Yeah.
Coach background.
Little, Daniel Little was his name. And he was just there the first year. And then he actually left Landrum High School to go back to his hometown, Abbeville, which is a really good gig for him. He's born and raised there. And then the other guy that was the assistant is now the head coach, Justin Henson, who I kind of hit it off with that year as the pitching guys. And, he got the head coaching job. So are you going to stay on? I'm like, absolutely. I love being out here. So it's a lot of fun to watch kids grow. I think the most satisfaction I get out of it is like, so it's 16 years worth of coaching roughly. Some of the kids are in their 30s already. They're or close to 30 years old. Actually, some of them are 30 and have their own kids, and they stay in contact with me through
Right.
Snapchat or some other stuff. Or I got a random text message a couple weeks ago about one of the kids, he's getting married, things like that. So it's fun to make those relationships and and watch the kids grow and try to teach them not just baseball but life stuff. I've had a fun life. It's been an interesting one to say the least.
Yeah.
Nothing tragic, nothing like that. Just single mom with 5 kids, basically raised by herself, and so I've seen both sides of life, and all sides of life for that matter. And it's just
Right.
fun to reach back. Like, we just had a kid. He was only here my first year. He was a junior named Evan Sierra. He left Landrum after his junior year and went to Starkville, Mississippi, and went to an academy down there, and then went to Mississippi State. Well, he just got drafted in the 8th round by Texas this year. So
Wow.
me and Coach Little, who's, like I said, at Abbeville, and our other head coach now, we went all the way up to Hickory, North Carolina. It's just an hour and a half away, and watched him make his minor league debut. So that was pretty sweet to see a kid that you coach. Had a little,
Yeah.
I mean, his dad says I was a good positive influence, but the other coaches, had him for 4 years before me. So it's fun to see. It's fun to watch the kids, like I said, just watch them grow and become their own men and grow up, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's really cool. And, you get to see them grow from where they started into where they're at now. I'm sure that's so fulfilling to see that now as a coach, and as you've been a high school coach now for a little while. And you mentioned him getting drafted. I want to talk about your story on your first day getting called up in the major league.
Did you hear about it?
This is fascinating to me. Okay, you get the call, you're trying to get to the hotel, you have no idea like where you're going. Essentially, you got lost. Like, the person at the hotel front desk was not going to let you in or something. They didn't believe you. Tell me about this. Tell me about this.
I got called up the same day as another pitcher, Al Levine.
Okay.
And Nelson Cruz, the pitcher, not the third baseman.
Right.
Nelly. And so we're we're getting off the plane, and no one told me the name of the hotel or anything where we were staying. I didn't know. In fact, there was no cell phones. I didn't have a cell phone. There was cell phones, but I didn't have one. And I had very little money on me. Got off the plane, got my luggage, and I just assumed somebody would pick us up. Or someone would pick up. The three of us assumed someone would pick us up. And Al Levine's like, no, they just kind of left. And I don't know where they went. They figured I was getting in the shuttle. They got on the shuttle to go to make the hotel rounds from the airport, and didn't tell me they got on the shuttle. I guess they thought I'd get on the next one. I hadn't got my luggage yet. And because I got in there after them. They were there before me.
Okay.
So I waited
and they just left you. They just left you.
Well, they left because they had their luggage, and I was still waiting for mine. So they got on the shuttle that was there, which is, I understand.
Yeah.
But I didn't know I was supposed to get on the shuttle. They didn't say, hey, we're getting on the shuttle. So the airport's closing. We flew into John Wayne Airport in Anaheim. So I call my trainer, Scott Johnson, back in Birmingham. I'm like, hey, dude, where am I supposed to go? He goes, where the hell are you at? So I'm at the airport. He goes, where's Al and Nelson and Nelly? And I'm like, I guess they got a ride somehow. I don't have any money to get a ride. I don't even know where to go. What's the name of the hotel? So he finds it out, calls me back on a payphone, by the way, because it's in the airport. So I'm finally sitting there, and finally he says, just get in a cab and go to this. So he gives me the number of the hotel. Okay. So I call the hotel, and I said, yes, I'm trying to figure out where I'm supposed to go. And I said, is this where the White Sox stay? And she's like, I can't give out information, but I don't think so. So she's basically lying to me. She's supposed to.
True.
And I'm like, so I kind of hung up, and I'm like, let me try again. So I called back, and I said, my name is Scott Eyre. I said, I just got called up by the Chicago White Sox. I'm at the airport. I just need to know the address of the hotel. In all my panic, I could have looked it up in the Yellow Pages or something. God forbid the Yellow Pages back then. People don't even know what that is nowadays. I
have an idea. Yeah. I have an idea of what it is. I kind of remember it.
So finally, I got into a cab and went to the hotel, and I had enough money to pay for it. Thank goodness. And I get there, and our traveling it's like 11:45. I landed at like 8 o'clock.
Oh my goodness! It was like 4 hours later.
I actually landed before the game started, so I was at the airport the whole time the game was going on. The other two guys went to the hotel and then took the team bus back to the hotel.
Oh,
they went to the field, and then took the team bus back. So I get to the hotel, and Glenn Rosenbaum was our traveling secretary at the White Sox at that time. And I asked him, he goes, where have you been? And I told him the story. He's just dying laughing. He's like, oh my God. And he's wiping his eyes from crying so hard. And I said, I tried to call the hotel. They didn't have a room for me. He goes, I gave you a different name.
Oh,
He gave me an assumed name on the road, and I can't think of what it was his neighbor's son.
right.
Wherever he lived, his neighbor's
Wow.
kid. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. And the lady at the front desk just started laughing because she could hear. She goes, "That was me on the phone."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Oh my
and she's like, "I'm
God.
so sorry." I'm like, "No, it's fine. I understand you're doing your job. It's not a big." She goes, "Oh my gosh, I feel so bad." So then I got to my room, at like 11:30, and I tried to call my mom at home from the hotel room, and no one answered. My mom didn't answer, and I called my grandma's house, and my grandma answered. And I'm like, or she didn't. No one answered my grandma's house, and I'm like, finally, I called one of my cousins. I'm like, "Hey, do you know where like my mom is?" Or no one's home. It's 11:30. My mom should be home. My grandma should be home for sure. And he's like, "No, they're all in cars. They're driving to Anaheim right now." I'm like, "They're what?" Again, no, stay outside. Stay there, baby. Maisie, my dog. Um, and so they're all driving down to come to the game the next day. And I'm like, I don't even know how to get them tickets. There's like 30 people. I have a big Mormon family. Got three brothers, my sister, my mom, my grandma, my aunts, a couple of aunts. And hold on, let me shut the door.
Yeah, you're good.
So I get to the field the next day, and I find Glenn Rosenbaum, and I said, "Hey, how do I buy? Is there a way I can buy some tickets?" He goes, "I already got you taken care of. You back then, they didn't have to pay the tax on the ticket or
Right.
whatnot. We just got tickets. It was all good." And he's like, "How many do you think you need?" And I said, "I don't know, probably 30 something." He goes, "I got you. Don't worry about it. Just whenever they get there, just have them all stay outside. And when they get there, have your mom. I have her name. It's Peggy, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "About." So when everybody got there, when I think there ended up being like 34, 35 people. And a couple of my friends actually showed up and just bought their
Wow.
own tickets. Um, and they all showed up. Might not have been that many, but they all showed up for the game, and he got them all tickets. Uh, and all was good after that. But yeah, it was an interesting call up.
That's a fascinating call up
I didn't even
story.
have
It's
a I
really
didn't even have
funny.
a sport coat to wear a jacket. I was
Oh,
supposed to wear a jacket. I didn't
yeah.
have one. I was
Yeah,
in double A.
nothing.
I didn't you didn't have
Yeah.
we didn't fly in double A. It wasn't triple A. So like I had to like my wife was actually at work at TGI Fridays in Birmingham,
Wow.
and I got the call from our manager, and he's like, "Hey, you're going to this and going to the big leagues." And after I was done crying, I was I'm calling her to work, and they
Yeah.
didn't answer, or she wasn't there yet. And I'm like, "Well, when she gets there, I need you to have her call me at this number immediately." So she like got to work and then left work to come back home because I had to pack. I had to be on a plane in like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's a quick
So it's like,
turnaround because they're
yeah,
expecting you. Yeah,
yeah.
let's
So
get
then
there. Let's
a
go.
bunch of my teammates came over, I guess, the next day or and whenever a couple of days later, and helped her pack up the rest of the apartment. And she drove back to Florida. She didn't even come to Anaheim to see my first game because we didn't have the money to fly her out, and didn't
Yeah.
realize you could have just said, "Hey, can you fly my wife out for
Right.
the
You're
game?"
not even
But
thinking.
I wasn't actually, and
Yeah.
I don't think it bothered her one bit. But
That's
uh,
awesome.
yeah,
Oh,
so
what
it
a
was it was an
story.
interesting couple days.
What a story for your major league call up. You had a long career, 13 years in the big leagues, and there was one guy that I read that stuck out to you that helped you throughout your career, and that's Steve Renko. Can you talk to me about how he helped your career?
Oh, Steve, yeah, double A, double that year, pitching coach. We had the White Sox had their standard running programs and their
Mhm.
conditioning and their methods in the bullpen, and he really didn't follow all that. Yeah, he did. I mean, but he made me believe in myself then. Like we used to do bow and arrows. Like so, you run along the the outfield fence, and it's a good jog, not a sprint, and then you sprint dead across. So we were supposed to run 8 to 10 of those. Well, he made me run 16 of them. Made all of the pitchers, not just me.
Wow.
Like you'd have to do 16 as a
Yeah.
starter, 12 as a reliever. He goes, "I'm going to get you." I was in the best shape, cardiovascular wise. Like, and then I started understanding I need to lift a little more, and I got better and better as the year went on. And he was a positive influence. He's a giant man too. I don't know if I haven't talked to him in who knows how long. Um, but yeah, he was just so positive. He'd come in after an inning and ask me to recall pitches, which I was not good at. I had not been diagnosed with my ADHD yet. So
Right.
my memory recall about stuff like the short term, like I don't remember what I just threw the last batter I struck out. And he'd be like, "Well, you threw him two breaking balls and a fastball. Why?" I'm like, well, because the first inning I threw him 3 straight fastballs and he swung at all of them. I figured he wasn't going to, you started making me think about
Right.
pitch calling and things like. He started making me think about more stuff. I don't want to say think like Maddox because that's just on another level, but he made me start thinking about things like and remembering the last time I faced a batter and stuff like that. And it was just, I mean, he made such a huge difference in my mental part of the game. And then he pushed me physically.
Yeah.
There was games where you're playing in Memphis and they had a turf field back then and it's August or, it's July and it's 96 degrees out. So the turf's like 118 and, in between innings, I'm sitting there with this. I always used to wrap a towel around my arm and he'd look at me and go, dum, don't do that. Go in the tunnel where the air conditioning is blowing and cool off. And I'm like, oh, okay. And just little things, the little bitty things. And the days that you were a little sore or whatnot, he'd say, well, play a little extra long toss today. Do just little things that I don't know if they do a lot of those things nowadays. They'll have an extra day rest, maybe. Not saying anything about today's pitchers, by the way, but it's just different. They do things a little different nowadays than we did. And yeah, he made a big difference. But another one that was a giant impact in my once I got to the big leagues was Dan Plesac.
Yeah.
I was in Toronto in 2001 and I got called up from Syracuse and I was pitching and I always had a rubber arm. I had a pretty good stamina, pretty good bounce back. He wrote me this long letter. Who does that? Who takes the time to write some rookie kid a long letter about, here comes my other dog. Who takes the time to do that? And basically in the letter, it talked about, believing in yourself and trusting in your stuff. And it just made such an impact. And then the way he spoke to me in the bullpen, and I'd be warming up and they'd be like, hey, who you're going in to face, right? And I'm like, yeah, David Ortiz, was with Minnesota back then. And he's like, he's not going to swing at the first pitch. He's going to feel you out. So what are you going to throw? And I'm like, I don't know. I haven't got that far yet. I'm still warming up in the bullpen.
You're still trying to warm up and just get ready.
I'm in the bullpen throwing fastball after fastball away. And he goes, no, throw a slider, front door slider. I'm like, okay. So I start doing that in the bullpen. Just, again, little things like that. I mean, you've heard him talk on MLB Network. He's phenomenal. So he was those two guys, besides coaches I had along the way I had some pretty good coaches. I was pretty blessed. But those two gentlemen made giant impacts in my career.
Yeah, they definitely did. You had an awesome career overall, and with the Philadelphia Phillies, you were awesome. You're 2008 World Series champion. How does that feel to still hear that here in 2008 World Series champion? And what was that parade like? I mean, just going down the craziness. No team had won since '83 with the Sixers. Phillies hadn't won since '80. What was that like, man?
I still smile, as you can see, every time someone says it. I'm watching it scroll on the bottom of your screen right here. It says World Series. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I still smile every time I see it. First of all, the parade was just unreal. I mean, you said you were at the Eagles parade last year.
Yeah.
I didn't see a lot. I saw some pictures of that, but I didn't get to experience it. But that is probably the greatest thing I've ever seen, like visually in front of me, like not seeing it on TV or just seeing it. We got done by the end of the day and like right here in my cheeks, my jaw hurt from smiling for like 6 hours straight in those parades, walking around the bank.
Yeah.
I don't know what's the link. Walking around. Yeah. We got to walk
in
around
the beginning, right? Yeah. In the beginning,
they started the parade and then we got out of the vans or the big vehicles they had us in. And we walked all the way around and that place was full. That's nuts. And then you go into the stadium and then it's a whole nother level of craziness. And just, I mean, it all started right after we won too, right after we finished and we left and went to Pat Burrell's for the player and coaches or whatnot after party. They went to like 4. I didn't get back to my hotel in Deptford. I was in the Deptford Inn.
Okay.
I think it's
right near me.
Residence Inn. Oh, really? Yeah. There's like a Pizzeria Uno or a Pizzeria Do like right next to it. I don't know if that's still there. I ate there quite a bit. And then the Deptford Mall, I spent a lot of time in that food court. That 3 months I was there that year. But we didn't get back to the hotel. I think my mom took the kids home or we put them in a cab and sent them home or something. Then my wife and I went home. We didn't get home till like 3 or 4 in the morning and then went to breakfast at 8 or 9 because I think my mom had to fly home that day or something. So she got to be there. That was pretty cool for me too. It was just, and then the parade, my kids were bitter because they missed Halloween.
Right.
Because
See, I wasn't allowed to go yet. I was too young. My parents didn't want to take me yet. So I didn't get to go to the '08 parade. I was bummed.
Oh.
But I was a little too young. They didn't. My brother was young too, so I didn't get to go to the '08 parade. But man, I just watching back. That I was 8 years old, and you and I know Billy Schweim. You've come on the locker room a few times. He's like, you are so lucky. You getting to see all these championships. I've had to wait years to see these championships. I mean, when you talk to Philly fans or you've talked to people just around the area, I mean, do you get a sense of like how big it is here to win a championship and what it means to the city?
I do now. When it first happened, I really didn't fully understand because I'm not from there. I didn't really truly know the history. They talked about it had been 100 seasons of sports from 25 years of 4 seasons, 100 seasons of sports without one. That's a long time. Then you start to put that into perspective, and I never understood the other thing because, like you said, I got traded there in August, so I wasn't there the whole year.
Yep.
I didn't endure the year before losing in 07. It's just a few months. I felt like I contributed, but I didn't really feel what's the word? Total, like I felt a part of the team, but I didn't feel like this part of the team until J-Roll. Actually, we were celebrating after the first series win against Milwaukee.
Right.
Was it Milwaukee? Yeah.
Yes.
And we're doing the celebration, and I'm just kind of standing off to the side, and I'm like excited. I'm celebrating, but I'm not doing everything else that Shane Victorino or J-Dub and all those guys are, they're unbelievable. And Jimmy rolls around, and I hear him say, and he grabs me and pulls me. I don't remember if he was talking to which reporter he was talking to or someone. And he goes, see this guy right here, this trade guy, he helped us. He got us. He helped get us here. Right then I felt like, oh God, Jimmy just said, I helped. And right then I felt, and then I fully didn't understand in 08, 09, a little later, how, like if you go eat somewhere, and like if the manager or something comes out and says, hey, food's on us, or it's very kind, I'll pay for my own food, but it's fine. I didn't understand until Phil Sheridan, our clubhouse guy.
Yeah.
He said to me, I said, I just don't get it because I was only here for a couple months. I wasn't a full part. And he goes, no, you don't understand. You're on people's basement walls, a team picture. You're in the team picture on the wall, and you'll be there forever, revered. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. Yeah. But I think it was until about, I want to say after I got the ring in 09, that opening game, that I really didn't fully understand what it actually meant to that city, which is why now I do stuff. I get to come back to Philly for some things here and there. I've met a few guys, and like you talk about Tommy Green, I got invited to go down to do the Phillies fantasy camp one year, right the year after I retired. And I've been doing it every year since. It's like 14 years or something like that. 15 years I've been doing it. And it's just, I've got to know all those the 93 team, your Ricky Jordans and your Pitalicos and Crucky. And you start to understand that when they talk about, the Philly players, if they really do truly bond, they are family, and that's when I met some of the guys, and I do some stuff for now. I'm a member of the Darren Dalton Foundation.
Yep. We
do some big golf tournaments around. They're doing actually an event Saturday in Chesapeake Bay, and it's a huge, guy, all those guys, Eisenreich, I can't even think of all their names right now, but all those guys, just
it's a long list.
Oh, it is. But the funny thing is, you get there, and Danny Jackson and these guys, you don't see them for a year or 8 months or something, and then I see them again, and it's like you saw them last week and you just had dinner at their house. It's the camaraderie, like I said, and that's the family part of it, is just ridiculously cool.
Yeah, and you mentioned kind of the family part of it, and that locker room in 08. You guys get the game suspended, game 5. You're waiting. What is that like, waiting around? And then when Lidge is on the mound, you guys, the bullpen, waiting to get out and celebrate. What is that whole experience like, the suspended game and seeing that last pitch be called strike 3, swing and a miss?
The suspended game, first of all, they probably should have called that a couple innings before that, because you could look from center field. Clay Condrey and I are sitting out there, and we're talking, and we're watching BJ Upton out there. BJ's not a big guy, pretty skinny, pretty strong, but just a smaller dude. And you could see his pant leg just flapping in the wind, and he's standing. You could see him shivering,
just shivering. So oh my gosh!
And then we're like, why aren't they calling this? It's ridiculous. This is stupid. And then when they called it, we had to get up the next day and go to the field, even though it was canceled early. We had to work out and stuff. And then when it got resumed, and then Jenkins gets the big hit. And he's a second work. We're going to win. We're going to go ahead right here and win. We only got to play 3 innings. The worst part about it for me, and I say the worst part in a nice way, is when Lidge went out for the 9th. I had to warm up for some stupid reason. He hadn't blown a save all year. But Doobie calls down and says, "Hey, when Lidge goes out, I need you warm. I need you loose." And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, why? JC's already spent. He can't pitch. So it's in case of a lefty comes up. I'm like, I don't have any problem thinking Lidge is just going to close this bad boy out.
Right.
So I was warming up for a while. And then when they got to 2 outs, I think, and they left him in to face. I think they were going to try to bring me in to face Hinsky. I don't know if that would have been the most politically correct move, is to take out the guy who's 47 for 47 at that time.
Right, perfect.
And bring in the other lefty, because they probably would just pinch hit a righty. But I mean,
today's game they might do that, right? They might bring in a Scott Eyre to face Hinsky, right?
But it was crazy. I mean, I don't know if I'd ever. And then I sat down right when he got. He went out. He got the first out or whatever, and then I sat down because I put my jacket back on, and Clay and I were right at the outfield fence, right where Rowan ran into it with his face.
Right. That's a very memorable moment.
I gotta say that because I love Ro. So we're sitting there, and Clay's looking at me, and he's like, I think he actually truly said when he strikes him out, "Are we jumping this fence? Or are we running around and going down the stairs?" And I go, "I'm jumping." He goes, "I'm in with you, dog." So he strikes Hinsky out, and all of them heck is going loose, and we're running in, and Clay Condry's yelling, "Take your jacket off." I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, why? He goes, "Take it off so they know who we are." Not in jackets, so you can see Condry or Eyre, and I'm like, oh my God, my jacket ended up in center field somewhere, and we're running in, and I actually have I don't have it in here. The big picture is the flying Hawaiian flying onto the circle. Well, there's a puzzle someone did. It's a circular puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
I've got it somewhere, and you know who the one jumping like this on the pile later on is? Me. I'm right in the middle of it, I'm on so that was one of the coolest moments, ha moments, like holy cow. But yeah, that was something crazy.
Oh, it's so cool to hear those type of stories from that 08 team. We're hoping that it happens to this team in 2025, right? What do you make of where they're at right now? I know they've struggled against the Mets. They lose last year. They just got swept by them at the time of this recording. For this team, I mean, what would you say to those guys in that clubhouse right now? They got there. They got a taste of the World Series. Couldn't get it done. You lose Zach Wheeler. A lot going against them. But guess what? They still have a lot of good pitchers on that staff. Yeah. If you had to say something to that clubhouse, what would it be? You're a coach as well, coach in high school. What would you say to those guys?
Day by day. Don't look forward. Don't look to the third game of the series. And that was the mentality that I learned really quick in my first year there in 08. And it was day by day, inning by inning. And I know that sounds so cliche to say, but it's the truth. You can't say, "Oh, well, we play such and such in 3 days." Well, no, you gotta play this game now, this inning now, Luzardo pitching or Walker pitching and Nola pitch. You gotta go day by day and try to win each game. It's not win it. You can't say let's win this series. It's got to be win this game. And they have. I believe they have the talent to do it. Wheeler though, man, I hope he's just healthy, not for baseball wise, just in life healthy. Like that sucks. I heard about that. I've played with a few guys that have had that whatever it is, the rib problem.
Blood clot in the shoulder. Yeah, blood clot in the shoulder.
It's due to something. I think isn't it due to something, one of your ribs or something?
It gets in the weeds of it. Like it's not a great injury. So I'm hoping the same thing. Like I hope he can come back, not even just as a baseball player, as a human and recover and it goes well.
A normal life. Yeah. But, I mean, that is a big blow because he is really good.
He's insane. He is insane.
Do
you think he should have won a Cy Young by now? I mean, I can't believe he doesn't have a Cy Young.
I mean, that's one of those things, like you could have the greatest year of your life and somebody has one that's just a little better 1 year. And I don't know. I couldn't tell you the numbers of who's won them the last couple of years, but I mean, he's got the stuff to win one. It just has to be the right year. It has to be the right time all things got to fall into place. You win 20 games one year and someone wins 19 but has a 1.6 ERA, or he wins 14 games and has a 1.6. You can't always equate wins and losses. I know they don't nowadays anyways, but another jab.
Yeah, I say them, they're subtle, but they're good. Subtle, I agree with most of them. So,
but I do like the game nowadays. I mean, I went to a Spartan Burgers, the Hub City Spartan Burgers game last night. It's an A-ball league.
Wow.
I did watch 26 kids strike out in 9 innings, and I'm thinking, God, shorten up with 2 strikes. Nobody shortens up with 2. They're all trying to hit their exit velocity and do this and do that. Man, just hit the ball, put the ball in play. And I think that's true in the big leagues. I know everyone's trying to, they're not trying to hit ground balls through the infield anymore. Some guys still do.
Yep.
But it is what it is, I mean, things change and you just got to adapt to the changes. But
yep. One thing that's changed and has gotten a little bit of attention. You're a relief pitcher. Joan Duran's entrance, the newly acquired closer for the Philadelphia Phillies. What do you make of that whole spectacle before we get out of here? It's something else. You're seeing a lot of more guys do it. Mariano Rivera did it. Trevor Hoffman did it back during your playing days. It's taken on a whole new type of, I guess, personality now with the lights, everything. What do you make of Duran's entrance for the Phils?
But Rivera and Hoffman and those guys did it, but I don't remember the lights ever flashing when they did it.
They had the song.
The song, that's cool. That's great. What's his name in New York? I hate saying New York, but the one kid that came out to the trumpet thing.
Yeah.
Diaz. That's pretty sick too. The whole music, that gets everybody pumped up. But the whole light thing, I don't know about all that. But honestly, I think that puts a little more pressure on the pitcher, does it not? Because they went through all this. Yeah, if you're him and you screw up, they went through all this light show and now we're just going, I don't know. I kind of like it. It wouldn't be for me, but it's kind of cool, actually. I mean, the whole tarantula thing going around on the scoreboard and stuff, it's pretty – it gets – I'll tell you what, though, if that's what helps him get fired up to throw 102 – and then it gets the fans fired up and he's throwing 103. I mean, holy crap. I'd turn the lights on and off for myself as well. I mean, it's pretty cool, I got to admit, but to say things over the top, it's from it sounds so weird to say from the time I played, but it's been like 16 years. I don't think that would have flown very well with anybody. I don't think anybody would have done stuff like that. But it's different. Like I said, it's different now, and it's accepted. Fans love it. So I mean, why wouldn't you do it? And like I said, if it fires the fans up to another level of excitement and gets them louder, and he rises off that level, man, more power to him.
Yeah, it's fascinating. He comes over in the trade. There was a whole story on how the Twins transferred it over to Philadelphia. It's a wild thing. So we'll see if we see him come out with that entrance in a World Series game. Who knows? Maybe we can see
some kind of electric, wouldn't it?
It would be nuts. It would be absolutely nuts. Well, Scott, I want to thank you for your time today. Very much appreciate you sitting down, just talking baseball, talking about your career. It was a lot of fun. Thanks for coming on the show. I genuinely appreciate it.
My pleasure, man. Anytime. Let me know.
All right, awesome.
I like talking, as you can tell.
It's awesome. Hey, that's what a podcast is, right? That's what we do over here. So, Scott, 2008 World Series champion from the Philadelphia Phillies, Scott Eyre, joined the program today. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right, Scott Eyre right there. That's a wrap on this interview. Nernshaw Radio. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.